Today I'm going to show you how to field strip and reassemble the Kimber Ultra CDP II. Alright, this is a fairly new weapon. I have not done anything to customize this weapon other than this magazine. There's also a Kimber magazine. I just like it has that little kick on the bottom there. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, clear. Always first things first. Safety first. No one outranks safety. Right here on the slide, you have two notches. You have your slide stop notch, and then you have your disassembly notch. Very small, but very key to breaking this thing down. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to push back our slide, and we are going to hold our slide and frame together so that our slide stop and that disassembly notch are lined up. And then we're going to pull our slide stop right out, just like so. Should come right out, pretty easy. If it's a newer weapon such as this, it might be a little bit stiff in some areas. Now we have this little hole in our guide rod, right? And we have our takedown tool, which to me is just same as a paper clip, but they give you this nice little stiff. Go ahead and line it up right in that hole in your guide rod. Alright, and you got to make sure that when you're releasing your slide that this takedown tool doesn't catch on your frame or your slide itself, so that way it doesn't mess up your finish. I mean, that's the worst that's going to happen, but why mess it up? Now make sure also that you're not depressing your grip safety, and go ahead and just take the slide right off the frame. Okay, so right now our weapon is in three pieces: our frame, our slide stop, and our slide. Now what I always do, just for precautionary measures, is I either put my safety up so that way I cannot pull the trigger releasing the hammer, or I very carefully release the hammer, not letting it fly up against the frame. This is an aluminum frame and you can damage this frame. Another thing I want to point out to you is that this frame has the Kim Pro finish on it, and it looks very nice, it holds up pretty good, but it does wear out. You can see where your slide stop goes. You're getting a little wear right there. Obviously on top of the frame where the slide hits against the frame itself. And then the other spot I noticed is where your grip safety and your dovetail go against your frame as well. You're going to see a little bit of wear in there. So it's inevitable. It's a finish. It's a weapon. It's going to break down a little bit. Okay, so the breakdown of your slide, your guide rod, spring assembly, and your barrel. Pretty simple. Because we have our takedown tool in, it's holding everything, holding the spring compressed. It literally just pulls right out. You can see you have a beveled edge here, and that is what goes against your barrel. You have it both here at the end on the stop, and then also up here in the front on the other stop. Now we're going to take our barrel link right here. It's just pinned on a hinge on our barrel. We're going to flip it forward. We're going to take our barrel, and it should just slide right out. It slides right out. And there you have it. That is a field stripped Kimber Ultra Carry CDP II. Okay, now we're going to put it back together, show you a couple things to make sure that you don't mess up that Kim Pro finish and keep your weapon good and as long as you can. And this is basically all you need to do for the breakdown to clean this weapon. Alright, first things first, we're going to take our barrel. We're going to go right back into the slide the way it came out. We put our barrel link forward. It should set right in there. Take our barrel link and flip that back up. And we're going to take our guide rod and spring assembly, make sure that the beveled edge goes down, and that is going to slide right back in the way that came out. just like so. Now we're going to go ahead and reassemble our weapon, but one thing I want to point out before we go ahead and do that is that, again, you do not want to depress your grip safety, simply because when you do, you can see you get this little dude that pops up right here, and what'll happen is that won't let your slide go back onto the frame properly, and if you try and jam it, you can ruin your weapon, cause yourself some extra cost and maintenance. So we'll go ahead and put these back together. What I like to do is start upside down, get everything lined up, and we'll go ahead and flip her back over. Got caught up on the same piece I was just telling you about. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our disassembly notch is again lined up with our slide stop hole. Now you can see you've got that edge there on an angle, and the reason for that is we're going to go ahead and we're going to line this pin up with our barrel link. Okay, once we do that, we're going to get this just to about where it's inserted into the frame, but what we got to do now is push in and up at the same time, just making sure not to mess up our finish. And there you have it. And so now we'll rack it a couple times, and that's it. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my video on field stripping the Kimber Ultra Carry CDP II. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them. Thank you again.